Everything is going absolutely crazy from a Kingdom Hearts perspective right now, as Square Enix showed off a brand new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 at D23, and it's already been viewed over 2.2 million times. Anyway, the good news is that to further assist with promotion, Tetsuya Nomura took part in a big round table which was kindly covered by DualShockers, where aside from fielding questions about Kingdom Hearts 3, he also spoke somewhat about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. But before I get into the meat of what was discussed, I just want to say that I really appreciate Nomura taking the time to answer with such depth, honesty and integrity. And I hope after I've gone through things, you'll also agree. So, first up, DualShockers asked Nomura how confident he is about Kingdom Hearts 3 actually releasing next year. They also wanted to know when it was decided that it would be releasing in 2018. Now, this question wasn't exactly related to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but there are similarities, and I wanted to include it to offer some perspective to you guys, so please bear with me. Nomura started off by giving a pretty obvious answer to the question, in the effect of course I'm confident, otherwise we wouldn't have announced it. However, it's what he said afterwards that was quite refreshing to hear. He spoke about the fact that they knew the release date when they started working on the project, as of course they had to determine how long they would need to spend on development. It makes perfect sense. However, he talks about the fact it was decisions made by the company that caused them to miss their targets, not their development capabilities. In response to another question later on, he gave a more thorough explanation, as he felt it was the right time to speak about the perception people have about the fact his games take too much time, a reputation that he says hurts. I'm going to read this answer verbatim even though it is quite long, because I feel it's pretty awesome and insightful, and I'm going to delve into it a bit afterwards because of that. So he said, "I've explained this to the Japanese media. It may or may not have been relayed to Western media. After about a year's worth of development on Kingdom Hearts 3, we were initially utilising an engine developed by Square Enix, and we were progressing on that engine, but there was a decision made to change to Unreal Engine 4. When we switched over to that, unfortunately there was a bit of time that needed to be rewinded and work that needed to be started over, so there was a bit of a setback there. Yet, it was a decision that the company had to make, and it was inevitable. I want to stress that it's not a problem that we had on the development team, nor was it something that I had personally changed my mind upon. So I mentioned earlier that we had a plan on the period of time that it was going to take for us to create the content at the time of the project's conception. We laid out that after a certain number of years, we would need to add more personnel and resources so that we could mass produce the assets. The plan was to progress and hit our targets. We had submitted it to our headquarters and it was approved. Of course, the internal personnel is very limited, and there are various different projects that happen within our company, so unfortunately the timings didn't work out. We had to make do with the timing that was appropriate to the company. We feel that this has contributed to our shift in development period. The company makes the decisions, so unfortunately sometimes this is out of my control. But again, I want to emphasize that it wasn't a problem on our development team's side, it just happened this way. The company had to make those decisions, and it didn't work out for the targets that we were hoping to hit. So let's just digest this for a second. Nomura has hinted in the past about challenges he's faced behind the scenes, and even commented back in 2013 that he felt Kingdom Hearts 3 had been announced too soon. However, after hearing his response to a question about the duration of his project, it makes perfect sense, and it's a similar situation to the one we saw with Final Fantasy Versus 13, where resource kept getting taken away to work on other projects that were deemed more important. Decisions are made above his head, and he very clearly says that the reason Kingdom Hearts 3 has taken so long is because there was a decision made outside of the development team and outside of his control to move the game away from Luminous to Unreal Engine 4, and that staff were also diverted to assist with other projects. However, he does note that he supported the decisions that were made, which I respect. I mean, he's frustrated, and it would have been easy for him to go on a rampage here. Based on this, I have quite a bit of sympathy for Tetsuya Nomura. The guy is under intense pressure to deliver at Square Enix due to the fact he's directing the company's two biggest games at the same time. He's also involved with a whole host of other projects, and let's also not forget the expectations surrounding these projects. Both Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy VII Remake are at this point in time two of the most anticipated games in development. And on top of that, he's the one who has to cop all the flack when there are delays based on decisions made by other people. How does this relate to the Final Fantasy VII Remake? Well, based on everything he's said, I'd imagine it's currently going through a very similar situation, decisions being made outside of his control that he has to try and manage. Once the project is further down the line, we might start to understand more about what's been going on behind the scenes, but who knows. Anyway, getting back on topic. Next up, DualShockers were able to ask Nomura how he is able to coordinate working on 2 large-scale games at the same time. He said it's a huge challenge, but he's helped by the fact that the 2 titles are so different from one another. He said if both titles were too similar, they might start to look the same. With the 2 being so different, if there is one thing I could not do in one title, I might be able to do it in the other. This actually works out well for me in that way. Nomura also shared just how crazy his schedule is, as when they were making final preparations to head to the US for D23, he was still having to attend mandatory planning meetings for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is pretty crazy. So how do you feel about Nomura's answer? As mentioned, I very much appreciate his honesty and I respect his candor, but I'm curious to see how you guys feel about it. Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to see this channel continue to grow, please consider checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/ffunion. These awesome folks have already done so and they have access to some pretty cool perks. Alright guys, this is Daryl signing out. I'll see you next time.